I'll let you start, April, and then I'll
Yeah,
introduce myself. Cool.
I'd be happy to share. So, hi everyone. My name is April Caldwell. I am a Floridian living in the Tampa area. I'm a U.S. Air Force veteran, and I launched this company called fayVen about 5 years ago. And essentially, it is like Airbnb for retail space and other markets. So, we are partnering with Stephanie from Buena Market. This has been such a great, exciting journey for us to have them on the platform. And so we're so excited to welcome Buena Market on to fayVen.com. And yeah, we'll talk about a little bit about the registration process. Plus, we'll field any questions that you guys have either in the chat here on Zoom or in the comments on Facebook that we are live to now. I'll try to monitor on my end any questions coming in from there. But we'll also share this video through YouTube, and I think Stephanie's going to email it out to her, all the people that's registered with her CRM. And yeah, so let's get started.
Cool. Hi everyone, I'm Stephanie Bernal Gregg with Buena Market. Thank you guys for being on the call with us. Like April said, we're very excited to be working with fayVen. If you ever applied or been a vendor with Buena Market in the past, you know that our application process has changed quite a bit over the years that we've been in business. And the reason for that is simply that it's just like a constant change in need. And so we're kind of at the point where we want to make that process streamlined and more efficient. And so that's where fayVen comes in. So with this, I'll let April talk more about, fayVen, but with Buena Market, we have a new event coming up on May 21st. And it's a partnership with Gospel Inc., a nonprofit organization here in Lakeland that is they offer housing to people who have experienced chronic homelessness, and they offer jobs and financial stability. They offer all kinds of like education and wellness programs, and Buena Market is very excited to work with them to celebrate their groundbreaking at their community just east of downtown Lakeland. So that's going to be very exciting. You guys are the first to know about it. We have what we're calling it Buena Brunch. It's a Sunday afternoon event with Gospel Inc. So there will be a lot more information about that. But that will be a slightly smaller market, but of course we'll be welcoming in all of Lakeland, surrounding communities. Gospel Inc. has a very elaborate network of supporters and donors that will definitely join us for this market. So we're really excited about it. And another great thing about this partnership is that Gospel Inc. has offered to help cover a portion of all the vendor fees for the event. So, sorry, that distracted me. Lots of everything. So this event is really exciting because we have discounted vendor fees, and we just really wanted to make it an, inclusive, accessible opportunity for everyone. So I will share more information about that later this week or in the next couple of days, but you guys are the first to know that you can set up a profile through fayVen in order to participate in that event. And so April will walk us through how to set up a profile on fayVen, and then we can talk more about what steps. There's
That's okay. We got her muted.
Okay, so I'm just going to recap what I just said for anybody who just jumped on. I'm Stephanie with Buena Market. This is April with fayVen. We have a new event on May 21st, and we are going to be taking applications through fayVen's platform. And so April and I are here to walk this group and other people that we'll share it with after the call. We're going to walk you through how to set up an application and talk a little bit through the approval process of what it looks like to partner with Buena Market. And yeah, April's going to take it away. You can pop questions into the chat. We'll work together to make sure we get everything answered. And we're going to try to keep our side short and sweet. And we want to make time for everybody to be able to, ask any questions that you might have about either Buena Market, application process, fayVen, whatever you come up with, we're here. So
we are here. Okay, thank you, Stephanie, for that. And I'm going to start sharing my screen here in a moment. Let me just go ahead and try to pull that up. And let's see. So where we're going to start is at actually fayven.com, spelled F-A-Y-V-E-N, and it's .com. And just like with anything, we have had technical difficulties today because, we were going live and the universe just said, well, we're going to throw this little curveball at you, but it's working right now. And we are having someone from our host site figure out what was going on there. But you should be able to go to fayven.com, and there's an actual video, a YouTube video that I created on how to register as a vendor. So don't worry if you missed today's info session or if you kind of forget what to do. Just go back to the fayVen homepage and click play, and you can skip ahead to the portion where you are. So essentially, you're just going to enter the fayVen portal, and that is going to take you to this cool site. So it's the same thing. It's just app.fayven.com. So if for any reason that first page doesn't work, then app.fayven.com will work for you. And just join as a vendor. That is the initial process, right? So it's going to ask you a few questions. Make sure you opt in for text messages in case the market manager wants to send you some information. And I'm just going to show you a quick example of what it looks like to be a vendor on the fayven.com website. And so I'm using one of my test emails here. And so this is what you'll see after you register with the fayven.com website. It'll send you a little email after you enter all that information confirming that you did in fact register. So you can go back to the website and use your new credentials to log in. So you'll actually get to see this page right from the jump. But what I would encourage you to do before you start looking at the events that are available to apply for is to go to your profile in the top right-hand corner and make sure that you have a fully filled out profile. And what I mean by that is I want you to put as much information about your business as possible. Obviously, the name of the company and what it is that you sell. And of course, anything that you want a market manager or a retailer to know about your business. You can also add in your business website, your Facebook URL, your Instagram URL, and also tag your business with some cool keywords here. If there's a keyword that you don't see that you would like added, we can also add those additional keywords for you. But so once you add all those keywords, they'll show up here. And so those will be what stands out to a market manager whenever they're looking at your profile and deciding whether to choose you for an event or not. So, and down here in your assets section, you can upload up to 10 different pictures. I would encourage you to put up whatever your booth looks like whenever it's fully completed, plus any products that you sell. Just a side note, this is me with my first business, which was a popcorn company. So those are all of me and my husband selling popcorn at different markets. So we'll go back to the dashboard after. So this is the profile creation section, pretty straightforward. Upload a picture of your business, tag the keywords, make sure you have all your URLs listed so that the market managers can find you easily. And then I want you to see, once we have a lot more of these events on here, you're going to want to narrow it down by state. Obviously, if you're in Florida, that would be helpful to find the Florida events. You can see it took off some of those first events because we do have a market that is in St. Louis, Missouri. So just make sure you're applying for markets that are local to you and that you can get to. And let's just go to Buena Market. So we are looking here at the Buena Market hosted by Gospel Inc. event. And we'll click on the details before we actually apply for the event, right? We want to know exactly what it is that we're applying for before we actually submit an application. So this is the information that Stephanie or her team has put together about the event. And essentially you can just read through the description and you're going to know the event date, the time, the end time of the event, and any deadlines that they have listed. You're also going to have information about the amenities that are available at this venue or market. And you're going to find out what it's going to cost you to either have a 10 by 10 space, if you're a food or beverage person or an artist or a maker, if you have a food truck or trailer, and how many spaces they have for each of those categories. And you're also going to figure out who your point of contact is. I know that can be kind of tricky for vendors when they apply for events. Who's the point of contact? How do I reach them? What if I have a question? The really cool thing about fayVen.com is if you do have a question, you can pop that into the chat with the vendor, or I'm sorry, with the market manager. And it's going to send a message straight to Stephanie. So you will be able to chat with the venue directly from the fayVen website, which is, I think, hopefully super helpful to you guys. And then we are going to go through the application process. So once we've decided that this is the market that we want to be at, we are going to hit apply. And we're going to make sure all those details still remain true. If not, we can jump in here and just edit what we want the profile to say really quickly. And then we're going to put in our point of contact information of who's going to be the vendor at this event. And we're going to select what it is that we are hoping to get. So this is not a guaranteed approval just because you choose one of these options. It's just what is available and what you're applying for. So we get to the end, you go through the amended, all the different things that are here listed, and you'll agree to the terms here, which you can read through. And then at the end, you will put your payment information. So, and this is just saying, I acknowledge that if I am selected for this event, I will be charged by the vendor fee set by the venue. So we're going to hit apply, and then you're going to wait for the approval. So Stephanie will get your application and review that, and she will say yes or no, or maybe waitlist you, depending on what types of vendors that she has already for this event. And as soon as you get an approval, you'll actually see that here in your profile. So once you are approved, it'll give you a notification via email to let you know you can go ahead and make your payments for that event. And I encourage all vendors to go ahead and do that as quickly as possible, just so that way it does secure your space, and they don't, the venue or market doesn't say, well, we really wanted you to pay this sooner than later. So it just makes it work easier for everybody to have that. And then it'll show up here in your profile. So once it's paid for, you will see it in your upcoming events. You can go to the event guide and look at all the information that is there that was in that original application. And yeah, so, okay, let's go back. And so, yeah, let me see if I can find an approval for one of these. Okay, let's go to Moxie Market. Give me 1 second. I think we have one approved already. So, here, 1 second. Maybe it was either way. So we'll keep it moving. But essentially, once you get approved, you'll come back to this application. You'll hit apply, And then it will have a new screen here guiding you towards the payment process. So yes, once you're approved by the market manager, you will then get an email saying, go ahead and make your payment, and it'll take you back to the home screen where you can hit apply and submit your payment. Ooh, I feel like I've been talking a lot. Let's see, do we have any questions already? Let's stop share for a second. Okay, where was the May 21st grand opening happening in downtown? Wait, is that for our group?
Yeah, that was a question that somebody I have a couple of things to add if no one has a comment. So I don't know if everybody that's on the call has applied for a Buena Market in the past. But if you have and you're wondering why, what are the pros to going through fayVen? Obviously, it's a really helpful platform. It's very organized, and I think that it takes out a lot of the guesswork. So in the past, I personally have had a hard time making sure that we're communicating with every applicant, giving updates, sending those bookings. There's been a lot of manual requirements for me on the back end to say, like, did I get this payment from a vendor? Did I send them their approval? Did I miss somebody? And it's not for lack of trying. It's just simply that there's been trying to connect like all these different workflows. And so for a while, we've been taking applications through our website, and there's not necessarily anything wrong with that, but I do think that working with fayVen is going to help us make that process more efficient. And in addition to that, as you saw, there are other markets that are on this platform. They're all outside of Lakeland, but there's plenty in the area and beyond. But once you have a profile set up in fayVen, you don't have to set it up again. So basically you would just, Buena Market, if you're looking to apply for Buena Market events, which I hope you do, we will announce, hey, we have applications open for this next event. And then you could just go to your fayVen, or I can actually share direct links to our events in fayVen, and then you can just select that event, hit apply, all of your information is already in there. So it will, once you go through the process, which is pretty simple, of setting up your application through fayVen, you don't have to do it again. And so that's something that I did want to be able to offer to the vendors, that it makes your life a little bit easier. It's easier to keep track of, because I know that in our vendor community, you're also applying to different markets, different days. It's hard to keep up with. Did I pay this deposit? Did I secure that spot? Have I heard back from this market manager? And I'm hoping that this process takes out a lot of those questions for you. So yes, that's one thing I wanted to say. The other thing I wanted to say about that was, thank you, Jeremy, was when you're applying, April showed, here's the way you can fill out your vendor profile. And for Buena Market in particular, I think adding more information the more information you put in there, the better. Making sure that you have those pictures of your current products. If you're changing products, update your profile. Include your Instagram, because that's really important for me when I go to look at vendors. Looking at your Instagram or your social media presence is important, because Buena Market is it's a collective effort to make sure that our events are successful. And so it's good for me to know, are these vendors, posting on their social media? Are they going to help us promote this event? Because we take on a lot of that responsibility, because I just believe that, that is our responsibility to make sure that we market the events. But it's really helpful to know that the vendors in our community are very engaged with getting people to the events, spreading the word, inviting people, and just participating in this online community that I think makes Buena Market very special. So the more information you can put in your profile, the better. And that's not just for me. Any market manager that's looking at your profile is going to want to see those things, in my opinion.
Absolutely. We do have a question from our Facebook channel, and it says, so you have to pay first, even if it's not a guaranteed spot, or is it just an application fee? And I just wanted to clear that up. So this is not something that you're paying for up front. So you are saying that you intend to pay whenever you submit your application. If you are selected and chosen to participate in the event, you are saying, I agree and acknowledge that if I am chosen, I will pay for this event. So it's not an application fee. It's just essentially saying, I agree that if I am chosen for this event, that I will make the payment for that application fee. So just a little clarity there. Just to apply, there's no payment. But if you are selected, yes, we do expect you to make payment for that event.
Yeah, that's a good thing to mention, is that fayVen for the vendors is a free platform, right, April? So there's no fee to put your profile on there. There's no fee for you to apply to an event, but there is that extra level of agreement that, you know, if you're applying for a date, you have that date available, you are seriously interested and wanting to participate in that event. So once you get selected, you know, you are expected to follow through with that commitment. But April, can you talk a little bit about, like, what does that look like? You know, if you receive the approval and then you've decided at that point you don't want to do the event anymore, before you pay any type of fee to the market manager, what happens?
Yeah, I would like to say that there's no way to force it. We can't force you to make payment. You know, it doesn't like draft your bank account, you know, or anything like that. It's just a handshake agreement with the vendors in the vendor community, with our market managers, saying, you know, this is something that I've put on my calendar. I intend to participate. And if I am selected, I do and will pay for this event. So you still have to go in and actually make the payment. So there's no, like, yeah, you have to, it's just more of a, you know, a good handshake. And we expect that from our vendor community. We're very supportive. Now, if something comes up and before you make payment, you ask the vendor, the market manager, hey, something came up, maybe this is no longer an option for me, then, you know, we'll try to see what we can do to work out with the market managers. But yeah, that's the idea, is to apply only once you're for sure that you're able to attend.
Yeah. And that's helpful to us as, you know, a market manager from the internal side of it. You know, sometimes we get a lot of applications and then we go to book people and they're like, they ghost us, or they're no longer interested, or, oh, I wasn't actually available this date, or I double booked myself. And those things happen. And I'm very understanding about that. But there is also an understanding that if you don't follow through and, you know, secure that spot by making a payment, which we have established a 50% deposit versus having to pay the full fee up front in order to make, you know, securing a vendor space is more accessible. If you don't follow through with it, we can't guarantee the spot, because there's, you know, there's going to be other vendors that want to participate. And just the way that the application and booking process goes, we give people, you know, deadlines, and if you miss them and we, you know, maybe we communicate and you need another day or so, I'm very flexible with that. But if things come up and it doesn't, you know, there's no deposit made or there's no communication, then we just understand that, okay, we're just going to open that spot up to somebody else. So
yeah, totally agree. I also wanted to share, since we were talking about co-marketing the events, that vendors are participating in that side of things. Mm-hmm. And so we've made an accessible zip drive available to market managers to send out marketing materials to those vendors once they're approved. So once a vendor is approved, whatever the market manager decides to send via zip file is then easily accessible to those vendors via email. So they just open the email, all the files that are in there that are required for that event are available and easy to share straight from their desktop or their phone or wherever they downloaded it.
Yes, that is a great point. Yeah, try to make that easy for everybody.
Also, we do have lots of updates rolling out. So every couple of weeks, we have some new fun features being updated. And so, you know, if you did register when we first launched back in late December, you may want to go back in and check on what new features are available now to the vendor side, so that you can take full advantage of all the fayVen website has to offer.
Yeah, and April has been great about answering my many questions. So, I appreciate that. And that was something that was really important to me before we, took this step with fayVen, is that it's something that we are going to kind of work together to figure out if there are any kinks, if there's anything that, we see as a need, or we need more clarification on, that April's very responsive and very helpful and patient. So those are all great things. I just want to, share with everyone on the call or who might see this later that I've been curating these events for almost 3 years now. It's 2.5 years. And I take it very seriously, not only to make sure that we set up our vendors for success, but that anybody who's a co-host, who sponsors with us, who works with us, feels confident in what Buena Market brings. The integrity of our markets is very important to me. And by that, I just mean that, the vendors we work with are reliable. They show up when they're supposed to show up. They bring the products they want to bring. They care about the presentation and engaging with customers and the guests. And, like I said, just kind of being part of our community. And that's really important to me. And so that's not going to change. I'm still going to to notice those things and to try to curate events that have that extra something special. And so we have such an incredible network of artists and makers and creatives and curators in their own right. And I absolutely love that. And I hope that everyone knows that Buena Market is a very inclusive place. And we strive to make sure that all communities are represented, that people feel seen and celebrated, and that, there are different cultures that we can experience. And so all of those things will continue to be part of what I look for when we book for Buena Market. And so I just want to encourage everyone to, to please get in touch with us if you have questions about that or you're not sure. I know that we don't do a ton of events. It's not like a farmer's market that we're hosting every single weekend. So it is somewhat limited on what kind of spaces I can offer to the community, which is why it's nice to have you guys on the fayVen platform, because there will be other market opportunities that you might want to take advantage of. So I'm happy that our community will have access to that too.
Totally agree. And we love partnering with people just like you, Stephanie, who are all about the community, all about bringing high quality vendor events to locals and just bringing small businesses together. We have such a big heart for small businesses. And, that's definitely something we pride ourselves on, is trying to bring on venues that have high quality standards in bringing those types of events together. We really truly appreciate the feedback. Like, I know you say it's a lot, but it really is just so helpful for us to get to hear your feedback when using the platform, not just as a market manager, but as our vendors too. So if you are a vendor on the platform and you have good feedback for us to help update this website, we are working hand in hand with our tech developers to build out the best, beautiful features that are going to be helpful and most useful to vendors and market managers everywhere. So feedback is super important right now, and we would just love and accept anything like that.
We love it.
Do we have any questions from our listeners in on the Zoom?
Yeah. Does everybody feel like they can go on and, set up a profile, or is there any, question, concern?
Feel free to come off mute, and, if you want to turn your video on, go ahead. If not, don't worry about it. But we'd love to have any questions that you guys have, either about fayVen or the Buena Market, or whatever you want to chat about.
Here, you got us for at least a few more minutes, unless someone wants to.
I guess we just covered all the bases.
Does anyone just want to chime in and say, hi, we heard you? They, anything? I'm like, so quiet. That's fine. Sherelle,
I'm getting the kids. This is Deborah with Wolf in the
okay,
Workshop.
Deborah.
I've got bath time and dinner going, so it's really loud over here. But
no worries.
that was a ton of information, and I'm really resistant to change.
Understand.
I am, but I'm looking forward to trying this and seeing how it goes, because you always host great markets, so I think it'll be good.
Thank you.
I feel better after this meeting.
Yes, I know it's definitely different, and I totally understand the resistance to that, but that's why we wanted to host this call. I'll send out a follow-up email to everybody that's on the call, and then just our vendor community at large, just share this recording with them and put in just some quick notes about it so that it doesn't feel like scary or like something that's not really feasible or accessible. Definitely wanted this to feel and be understood as it is simple transition, but it's different. So I'm right there with you. It's hard to change.
Yeah, different is scary, but this is a really good meeting. I feel really good about it. So thanks for hosting this, guys. It was nice to meet you, April.
Yeah, great to have you guys on here, and happy to answer any questions, even if no one's brave enough to get on live with us, but we'd love to answer any questions that you have.
Yeah, and anyone who doesn't have questions, feel free to hop off. No, no pressure to stay on. Thank you for squeezing us in between bath time and dinner. I know that's a lot to juggle.
Well, hi everybody. I'm not sure. I'm glad to be on here. I actually already applied for the application, and it was super easy. It didn't take. If you don't like to read like me, that's probably why you haven't did it yet. But it don't take but like a hot second to do it. And it's a long time because I couldn't figure out how to turn my video off, so that's why I had y'all looking at the plants. My bad.
That's wonderful. I'm so really, really glad to hear that, because I'm not a big reader myself. So I wanted it to be as crystal clear, fill in the blanks, and tell us about your business without, too much back and forth. So I hope that everyone feels the same way as the ease and accessibility of vendors being able to register on there. So
yes, if there's one thing I've learned in, booking markets and curating markets all this time, is that no one really likes to read. That's okay. That's why video chats are here. Instagram is here. Helpful information is available. So yeah, it can be a lot to digest a ton of written information. So thanks for making it easy for us, April.
my pleasure. Yes. And if you do have any questions and you want to email me directly, info@fayVen.com is the easiest way to reach me. Of course, if you are on our Facebook or Instagram, that's always another way to reach us as well. So happy to answer any questions, all the questions, and get all the feedback for everybody here. So thank you for having me.
Awesome. Thank you so much for hosting. Thanks, everyone. We're going to hop off, but like I said, I will send a follow-up email, and you guys have free reign to get in touch with us with more questions. So,
all right. Thanks, Stephanie.
bye, everyone. Have a great night.
Bye, guys.
Bye.